Good morning, everyone. I got the jugs on yesterday and torqued the heads down. I set the manifold so it sits square with so the carburetor won't be leaning. Granted, it's pieced together, but I think the other video I showed the newer pistons I found that weren't all boogered up with the bolt that fell through the carburetor on top of there. And I flattened everything out, and so hopefully it'll work fine. It has two different kinds of wrist pin clips, but that's what I had to do for them to seat down into the hole, to seat down into here. I guess the important thing to me, being just somebody tinkers with stuff, you just have to have it make sure it seats down or it seats in and holds it. If it's different from one side to another, but like I say, I did bring the gaskets, and I always mark these: exhaust rear, intake front. I had all that marked. So I'll give him the motor back, and he can turn it over when he puts it in the bike in the primary, and they should be fine. They came out of there, and nothing's been changed in that respect. But with this type of gray squishy gasket, I guess it's a Harley one. You can do the 10, the 20, 30, and then 40 or 42, and that's what I did. Or you can do the other. There's schools of thought, and then I just have these to put on, and those to put on. I had some other ones, but they were pretty bad. I think I have them up here. Let's see. Yeah, these were really getting pitted, so I put these on there, got a little nicer finish, and then I'll power wash it. It's Thursday, so Thursday shopping day. Even though I go shopping and pick up little things on the bike, usually once a month the wife and I go somewhere and do the bigger shopping. Of course, she got hurt. I can turn the light off. She at least didn't fall down the stairs. She passed out twice. They don't know why. We sat in the emergency room for 9 hours. The doctors and nurses were great. I think the triage nurse or nurses or whatever, they, maybe they're understaffed. But they had her stay overnight. They suggested that, and I said yes. Originally, we went to, hope you don't mind me just yakking. We went to MedPoint the next day because she cut her thumb slicing tomatoes with one of those mandolins. And it was still bleeding the next day. But in the ensuing nighttime, she fell at the base of the stairs. She remembers she fell. Woke up fine, went upstairs. I don't know if it was her sugar or blood pressure, because she has type 2 diabetes. So you got to watch that. She does well. Usually 90 to 120 a day, somewhere in there, when she checks. But then she fell in the bedroom. She was cold and clammy. Of course, I'm worrying like crazy, because 5 years ago, she almost lost a kidney because she had staghorn kidney stones. And Dr. Rutchek did 2 surgeries and was able to save the kidney, and it's been great ever since. Pretty good, Up to that point, she'd been rock solid for 45 years, being married, and prior to that, so she's in her late 60s. So we don't know why. They did all kinds of CT scans and the heart and all that was great. So we don't know why. Other than she makes a lot of vitamin D in her body. And she, if you do that and also take a supplement, can add to your, um, oh, there's a word for it, um, protein, I guess, or something. Because I know she does have some protein leaking from her kidneys. So she's starting medication for that. But too much vitamin D is not good either. And apparently she's one of the very few that he hadn't seen too many people, I guess, that she doesn't need to take supplements. I take D, K2, zinc, and that started, I was doing that even prior to COVID. And then that was the thing people were saying to help build your immune system. So, but yeah, she was in the hospital for 2 days, and 7th floor Memorial here in South Bend. I worked there in 1974, and in 75, maybe 76 too. My mom worked there. She taught nursing. And my dad worked there. He ran the boiler room. So yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the kids got to work there too. It was well, I think I came from a gas station, and then I started working at the hospital when I got back to the States from Germany. So we went the next day to the doctor. He called and says, come in, and looked over all the tests, and then we go tomorrow again for some blood tests and so forth, see about how things are going. She seems rock solid again. So you got to take care of your health, but then things just jump up out of nowhere. Well, I'll catch you guys later, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Just a little yakking. Bye-bye. Stay safe out there, folks.